Alright guys, I'm back again to talk about a list that I made, and this started out as a top 10 Tuesday on the blogging community, and basically I didn't get it up on Tuesday, I had more than 10, and I decided to make it into a video. So I'm just making this into this like random tag list video, whatever. It's gonna be my top 12 popular authors I've never read, but obviously that I want to. These are authors, I think there's like 3 of them that there's just like one trilogy I want to read by them, but the majority of these have multiple books that I want to read. But yeah, they're not really in order, I just kind of threw them in a list of 12, and let's get started. First author that I would really like to read is Tahereh Mafi, author of the Shatter Me trilogy, and that's the only like series I know of by her. She might have more out, I just don't know. But the last book in the trilogy, Ignite Me, just came out recently, and I've just been hearing a lot of great things. I think these covers are so freaking gorgeous. Oh my gosh, let's just be honest for a minute. When Shatter Me first came out, I didn't really know too much about it. I had so many other books to read, and I saw the cover and I really was just like, Then I saw this cover and I was like, whoa, let's make time for this because this is freaking beautiful. And now I actually know what it's about, and I actually think that it is interesting. And a lot of people, I think it's heavy on the romance is what I've heard, but I'll just wait until I'm like in the mood for that. And oh, it's so shiny. It's kind of shiny too. The eye is just so cool. I think Ignite Me, the eye is even cooler. The next author, I don't own any of her books, but it's A.S. King, and Ariel Bissett is a big fan of her. I've heard other people talk about her as well. But one book is Everybody Sees the Ants, another is Ask the Passengers, and then her newest book is Reality Boy. I didn't actually know she wrote that, I just heard about the book, and so yeah, there's actually multiple books by her that I'd like to read, and hopefully this year I can read at least one book by her. The third author on my list is Holly Black, and she is the author of the Spiderwick Chronicles. My little brother's read those. I haven't yet, but I heard they're pretty good. She also wrote Doll Bones, I think came out last year if I'm not mistaken, and then her newest book, or I think it's her newest book, a newer book, is The Coldest Girl in Coal Town. And I saw Kat talk about this on Cattastic, and I think that book looks so good and so interesting. The cover looks really cool, and that's definitely, out of all of her books, like my number one I want to read first by her, but I want to definitely read something by her. Number 4 on my list is Marie Lu, and just like Tahereh Mafi, I only know of the Legend trilogy by her, but I've heard this is really good, and this trilogy just got wrapped up not that long ago as well, and I have the first one. Jake actually bought this for me last year on Valentine's Day, and I've meant to read it. It's actually pretty small, but I've just kind of been waiting until I'm in like a really like dystopian mood, and so the time hasn't been right yet, but hopefully really soon I can start this trilogy by her. Number 5 on my list is Libba Bray. I've never read anything by her, but I know she wrote The Diviners, which I've actually heard about that book all over BookTube. I'm not a big fan of the newest cover change, the newest cover, so when I buy it, I'll definitely buy the hardcover of like the original. Not a big fan of the new one. But she also wrote the first book's called A Great and Terrible Beauty. I think it's is it like the Gemma Doyle trilogy? I actually don't know the name of the trilogy, but I know the first one's called A Great and Terrible Beauty, and I have almost picked that up so many times in the library, and I haven't. She also wrote Beauty Queens, which I've heard some pretty mixed reviews. I've heard some people really liked it, some people not so much. This next author, oh my gosh, I will for sure read something by her this year, hopefully like in the next month, and that is Sophie Kinsella. She wrote Confessions of a Shopaholic. She wrote I think it's called the Shopaholic series. She wrote I've Got Your Number, 20s Girl, so many books, and I really think that I will like her. I really do think I'll like her books. I'm just gonna wait until I'm kind of in that mood for just like a sweet, like light contemporary book. I think these books are supposed to be just kind of like lighthearted, fun books, and so definitely let me know if you read any of these authors. If they've written like multiple books, let me know your favorite by that author so I can know like which to pick up as like the first book by them. At the end of this month, I will actually be able to cross off this author, and it is Victoria Schwab, and I am going to be participating in the archived read-along. So I have this on ebook. I'm gonna get it in a physical copy as well, and so I'm gonna be reading it this month and then participating in the live show with Jesse the Reader. He like started this, and tons of other booktubers. I talked about it in my last video in the wrap up for February, but the live show is on the 22nd of this month, and another book, well, there's a second one too, The Unbound, but another book by her is Vicious, and that sounds really good. A lot of people have been raving about that book in the booktube community, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw online that she's even writing a new trilogy or series or something. So I definitely want to read a book by her, and I'm glad I can do that this month. This next author is the author of at least a couple series I want to read, and it's Gayle Forman. I have If I Stay, which my friend Charlotte loves this book. She read this, I think, like in high school and just fell in love with it, and I think there's a second one as well. She also wrote the Just One Day series, but I don't really know if it's a series, because I remember, was it Christine or someone talking about how the second book is not what you expect. It's not like a second in a series. I don't know, but I've never read anything by her, and I want to read something hopefully very soon. This next author, she has so many books, maybe even more books than anyone else on this list, and that is Sarah Dessen. Never read a Sarah Dessen book ever. I have no idea why, because I love chick lit and I love feel-good books, and she's written so many books. She's written Just Listen, The Truth About Forever, This Lullaby, Along for the Ride, Lock and Key. She's written so many books, and I've never read one. No, I don't own one either, but my library has like all of them, like 3 copies of each. So definitely this year I'd like to pick up at least one Sarah Dessen book. That is my goal. This next author is an author that I've just heard a lot of good things about him. A lot of other booktubers that I like trust for recommendations love him, and that is Brandon Sanderson. He wrote, I think his newest book is Steelheart. I've heard some good things about that, and that book synopsis really is intriguing to me, and I want to pick that up. There's the Mistborn trilogy, which I've heard Reagan just rave about, and actually there's more that I didn't even add to this list, but he's a pretty well-known, like I think like the fantasy and stuff, and I want to hopefully read something by him soon. Got 2 more. So number 11 on my list is James Dashner, and he is the author of the Maze Runner trilogy or series, something like that. The movie's coming out this year, I believe, pretty sure. He also wrote The Eye of the Mines, which I think that might be a series too. I don't know, but I've never read anything by him, so kind of want to read something by him. The last on my list, I own the first book, and that is Beth Revis, and I have Across the Universe, which is the first in the trilogy, and yes, I have the like original, like the old copy, the old cover, but there's three books in this trilogy. She might have written more, I don't know, maybe just this trilogy, I don't know. But this sounds super interesting. I've heard really good things about this trilogy. It's a sci-fi, they're up in space, there's romance, which you could probably guess because the people on the cover are kissing almost. Definitely, I want to read this. I got this last year, and I think I came so close to picking it up so many different times. And just the life of a booktuber, you never know, and just a reader in general, you never know what to read next because there's so many options. But you know, it's exciting as well. I'll always have books to read, always have reading material. But anyways, these are 12 authors that I've never read, I'd really like to read. Now I would like you guys to list them. At least put like your top 3 or so. It doesn't have to be like popular authors, it could just be like any author. Let me know if you've read any books by these authors, maybe like what I should pick up first, going by that list. And that's all I have, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!